Good morning, traders. Today is Wednesday, August 18th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. Okay, well, as I mentioned in the video I posted earlier today, unfortunately, the Airbnb where I'm at, which they won't let me out of the agreement, they have internet that is not adequate for my needs here. So if the live stream gets cut out in the middle of the stream this morning, I apologize. There's nothing I can do to stop it. If the internet gets better throughout the day, I'll try to get another live stream going. But I just can't control the fact that there are other people in the same Airbnb as me and they're also using the internet. Okay. So if it cuts out, my apologies, and you'll just have to bear with me. As soon as I get into an apartment, I will be able to get the live streams running as normal. All right. So as for today, what are we looking at here in the market? Well, the overnight inventory is more short than long. I would say it's about 70% net short. Most of the volume traded below their opening price, and we are opening down at the lower end. So we can expect somewhat of a counter auction to the upside as a result of that overnight inventory. We are once again the same as yesterday, opening inside the previous day's range, inside the previous day's value area, so that increases the odds of chop early in the morning. It's also further increased by the fact that we were inside the previous day of the previous day. So that's just a sign of rotation, and often that causes chop for the first hour or two of the day. So I'll be waiting for the market to give me a stronger signal before entering a trade. As far as what to expect today, we've got some counter, pretty much like the market could go either way, all right? Value is overlapping to lower 3 days in a row. That is bearish as a signal for continuation of that. However, the way the market often breaks out of a downtrend in value is just by instantly pushing higher one day. So that could happen as well. So it's a signal to think about as bearishness, but it doesn't necessarily mean the market has to keep going down. If it finds support and trades higher today, it can break out of this trend, okay? We also found support just below that previous balance area high, which I was talking about yesterday at 44.15. That is a bullish signal. If we'd have pulled down into there and spent some time and put in some volume below there, that would have been bearish, okay? But the fact that we were able to pull right back above, and that led to a bit of buying that got us back into the previous day's range is bullish that we found support there. So the market might need to trade back down there today, but we'll once again look for support around that area. And same as before, if that fails, to me, that is the short. So I'm not going to go short anywhere in here, but if that fails, I would go short for continuation lower. Okay. We also created a poor high yesterday because the high of the day was like one tick off from a set of single prints from the day before. So that is a target to the upside. As far as long trades, like once the market opens, where will I go long? Where will I go short? Let me get that pen tool up and running here. Also today, I'm not running internals on Thinkorswim just because it slows everything down. So I'm trying to just keep the internet usage to a minimum. Okay, so to the upside, this is the area that I'm watching right here around our open for yesterday where we put in a bunch of volume. It was also where the POC was for the first few time periods, okay? And then it was our closing price for the day. So all of those things in combination make this very strong resistance when the market trades up to it. So the market would trade up to this area and then it would have trouble getting any higher. If that happens, I'd be willing to go short. Or if it breaks above this level, comes back down and finds support, I'd be willing to go long. Okay? So that level is there's not an exact level, but I would just say somewhere in this area around 44, 45, 46-ish. Okay? To the downside, the market is open. That's not to the downside, that's up. Okay, I am getting the warnings that the stream has poor strength, so we might lose it here. If we do, I apologize. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention quickly was the daily. So yesterday, the daily, the market bounced perfectly off that 20 moving average. That is bullish. I'm actually a little disappointed I missed it because one of my new swing trading strategies is go long at the 20 moving average, add to it at the 50, and then have a time stop. If the market spends more than 2 days below the 50, I stop out of the long trade. Didn't get a chance to take that yesterday. Might get a chance to take it today. We'll see. If the 20 doesn't hold as support, it increases the odds the market will trade down to the 50. Okay, so that area is going to be right around where that balance area low is. And if it breaks through that, you'll probably get continuation down to the 50. Okay, we can just look back and see most times that 20 breaks goes to the 50. 50 breaks, only stays below for 1 day, pulls back up. Once again, 20 breaks, 50 holds. 20 breaks, 50 holds. 50 holds, spends less than a day below it, pushes back up. 20 breaks, 50 holds, so on and so forth, right? Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. It's a bullish market, you know. Yeah, so then to the downside, the references are going to be this node of volume here around 27, 28. This node of volume here, which is around 23. And then obviously that previous balance in area high. Okay. We'll look for support here. I wouldn't be shorting these yet. I'd be looking for support for the push back higher and then waiting to see what the market does when it gets around that closing price of yesterday. Man, it's so nice to be able to say good morning to people again before I lose the stream. So good morning, Jay. Good to see you. Brady, good morning to you. No Futs. Thank you, sir. I may not be back. I need to prepare everybody emotionally for the fact that this might cut out any moment. Fausto, good morning to you. Lewis, good to see you. Miles. Missed you too, man. Really, I've missed the conversation in the chat. Arthur, good to see you. Mizu, good morning. So Mizu asks, yesterday's last price was $37.50 settle. 40. Oh. Sorry, more people commented and the thing scrolled down. Settle is $43.50. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I have the settle at 4444. Yeah, I wasn't watching at the end of the day, so I can't answer that question. May have just been a literally a last minute buy with seconds before the market closed. Marco, good to see you as well. Thank you, brother. Good morning, John. Good to see you. MK, good morning. RK Leon, good morning to you. MK says it's bearish. Fair enough. There is a downtrend in the value, right? We trade value, not price. Value trending in a certain direction is a very potent signal, right? But the reason I talk about it as being tricky is because when we get a downtrend, they end like instantly. It's like you'll get, let me see if I can find one from before. No, we've been balancing for weeks. I don't have any. All right, so I don't have an example I can show you of that, but often when you get a downtrend, it only lasts for a few days. and then it just instantly one day the market finds support and V shapes up, and then value is higher and the trend is over. So that doesn't get me as bearish as it might. Good morning, Phoenix. Mizu's going to develop an abandonment complex. Dude, you guys have no idea how frustrated I am with this. I feel terrible. If I could go back in time, I would have just like not started the membership until after I got to New York. But of course I didn't know that this was going to happen. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. Asif, good to see you. Trading Donkey, good morning, brother. Double Eagle back with us. So is New York all you anticipated? I mean, I haven't really seen much of it yet. I've just been looking at apartments and stuff. But I met up with an old high school friend yesterday, and that was a lot of fun. So I can't complain. Douglas, what do I consider as a settle? Just wherever the market profile software tells me it is. They just put this little green rectangle right around that price. And so that's where I consider settle. It might be, data feeds are sometimes slightly off by a tick or two or whatever. But I'm just going to call that settle. And really it doesn't matter because I'm not talking about any one specific exact level. I'm just talking about this area. Right. So as the market pushes its way up into here, it'll find resistance in here. It won't be any one exact spot where it stops. It's just, can it not get above this node of volume? Right. Getting above that and coming back down to find support is bullish, but getting into it and then finding resistance would be bearish. Right. But it's not any one exact level. So just kind of keep an eye on this area. We got some, resistance right here in the prominent overnight POC. It's just at the bottom end of that node of volume, so expect some resistance there as well. So that could be kind of like your first bullish signal. If we get through that, it increases the odds we'll get through this. We got bad taper on the low here, increasing the odds. The market needs to trade back down and put in some more two-sided trade. Right now, this just feels like chop. Market's trying to figure itself out. Ronald, good morning to you. Oh, Mizu, no, my settle price is right at 4 o'clock. Yeah, I changed from the way Jim Dalton does it, where he uses 4:15. I use straight up 4 o'clock. And then right at the moment that I close this profile, I start the overnight. So he also doesn't include, like, I don't even remember, honestly, anymore what he includes. But I use the full 24 hours of the day from 9:30 to 4 p.m. East Coast time. It's this profile. The rest of the night, it's this profile. Ricky Bobby, good morning to you. Miles, do I like waking up later? Yep. I mean, I'm still waking up at like 6 a.m. West Coast time and like having to go back to sleep. But yeah, it's great. You can finally have a nightlife. Como leaves and the pirate enters. Yeah, bro. Scared him off. He knew I was coming. Had to resign quick. Greetings from Germany. Psyworker, very cool. MK talking about how the volume profile chart gives him a little more confidence in his trading. Happy to hear it, brother. The same is true for me. I spent years and years looking at candlesticks and feeling like I had no idea what I was looking at. And then as soon as I started looking at it in 3 dimensions, I was like, this makes sense to me. It's not just about where the price is or how much volume traded in a 15-minute time period. It's about where price went and how much volume traded at each price level. It's about how much time price spent at a certain level. That was something I was able to click, whereas the regular candlesticks never worked for me. Mizu, new member from Austria. Don't ask about kangaroos. Did you think we were going to confuse Austria and Australia? Is that an American thing? Does that happen? Trading donkey cumulative tick. Hey, bro, if you like it, use it. Okay, let me try taking a look at the internals on here, just to see what the tick is doing. Oof. How do I zoom out? Okay, well, the tick is working its way back up towards that 0 line. Getting above it is a little more bullish. There we go. We're above it now, as a sign that more buyers than sellers are stepping into the market. Jason, thank you so much for mentioning that. Yes. Please like the stream. Liking tells YouTube that I'm alive and still posting to keep sending people my way. So I would appreciate that. Okay, so we were just able to work our way through that first little node of volume, where the prominent POC was the starter for it, so that's bullish to see. Obviously, we have paper thin volume in here, so we want to come in and backfill a little bit of this. But we're starting to get our first bullish indications. Double Eagle, I'm not familiar with mastering the trade books. What's the basic type of trading? Is it like trend trading or reversion to the mean? What's sort of the strategy? Yep, I agree with Donkey here that, the market needed to come back in and backfill that thin volume in there. And we are still just kind of getting chopped this morning. The market hasn't picked a direction. But we should hope to find support in this node of volume above the open. If not, it's not a trade that I would take, but you could short the open if it passes back through there, knowing that you have bad taper on the low here. So you could short the open, that you get into this bad taper, you start building volume down here, and then you just move your stop a tick below the opening price there, and then wait and see, do you get further downside continuation? If not, you could just take profits real quick on the way back up. That is a trade. But otherwise, we should find support if we're going to continue higher today in this node. Adidas guy? Yeah, you're right. Yesterday's low was poor. Poor low and poor high. But in a situation like this, so anytime you're looking at this market generated information, you're always weighing it out in your mind and you're asking yourself, like, what's more important than other things? To me, the exact spot where the market found support doesn't really matter. What jumps out at me is the fact that it found it as soon as it passed down into that previous balancing area. So the idea of breaking out of a balancing area, right? Let me just draw it real quick. So the market's like trading around in a balancing area, and then it finally breaks out above, okay? That's a sign that we don't need to do business in here anymore. We did all this business before, now we're good. So if the market trades higher, as it did here, and then pulls back down to that level, finding support right there at that balance area high, I mean, of course you can go a few dollars below it, but it still counts. Finding support there is bullish that this was correct. That all this trade we did proved the point that we don't need to be down here. And so then we find support and continue higher from there. Okay, so this, even though, yes, I guess technically that's a poor low, I'm not going to worry about it because to me, this is really what matters. Can we stay above this level? If so, the poor low, repairing the poor low is, I mean, if we break below this, the poor low doesn't matter. We got much further downside continuation. So I'm not too worried about that, but good observation. Okay, so the bulls are buying today. We're looking good. We got through this node of volume, okay, came back down, back filled, found support in this node down here, and now we're pushing our way up into this node from yesterday. So this is very bullish. For me, the entry on the trade is getting above these levels, and then the market comes back down and finds support somewhere in here. Then I take the long trade. If it gets above and it pulls back down and then pushes right through, it's a short. Or I'm sorry. If it tries to push above and can't and finds resistance, then it's a short. Okay. I assume you're talking about me, Double Eagle. Yeah, I mean the way that I've developed as a trader is like coming up with an idea and then watching how it plays out over and over again. And that balancing area high is a perfect example of that. I've just learned that when this is in play, nothing else matters. But that's just something you got to kind of figure out over time. You have to watch it happen over and over again. Okay, well, we're just cutting right through this resistance like butter. So that's a good sign. But again, we'll need to come in and backfill some of these low volume nodes. This is obviously some shorts getting squeezed here, which is causing this fast push higher. So now the market needs to pull back down so that the buyers can step in, right? Everybody that just got super excited seeing this push up, they need a chance to buy, but they want to wait for a pullback. So the market needs to pull back in here, backfill a little bit of this, then it continues higher. Jitten, good to see you, brother. Good morning. Jitten, yeah, I mean, when it comes to balancing area highs, that is a matter of personal preference. You know, trading is an art, not a science. So somebody must have picked the perfect spot. Obviously, terrible taper at the high here. Somebody must have had a big sell order sitting in there. So the market will backfill these a little bit, bringing in more buyers, and then we'll push through on the next attempt. Mizu, yesterday's low would be poor because it has good excess. It does have 2 ticks, but because it stopped right at a previous weak reference. Okay, so remember, weak references, they have to be repaired. You have to get 2 ticks below them. Otherwise, they make the new reference weak. Okay, so this is a weak low. It's the low of the day. It makes it a poor low. I'll just go ahead and relabel it here. But again, I'm not sweating that at all. I'm happy to leave that behind if the market wants to trade higher today. Nav Trader, good to see you, brother. All right, so we're printing the B period here. Beginning the process of, oh, not quite one time framing. So this is a poor high. We often get a push away from a poor high. So we may get that backfilling in here before we start one time framing. If we immediately push higher now, it's a little more bullish. Still poor on the high. So earlier we talked about closing price and resistance and not being too exacting. So there you go. Design Knob, are you in New York? Yeah, brother. I'm here. I'm in Brooklyn as we speak. Yeah, Fausto. We talked about that. We're going to catch up this weekend, right? Hit me up on Twits, on Tweetsies. Well, Design Knob at some point, not anytime soon, but at some point we'll do like a big meetup here in New York and get everybody from the tri-state area to come on out, make it worthwhile. Bro, Fausto, I'm from the film business, man. 10-hour days, that's nothing. That's a warm-up. Yeah, boy, talk about them deer with them guns. Glad to hear it, MK. Keep it up. So far, this looks great. The market looks bullish here. We haven't quite started one-time framing yet, but we are pushing through resistance relatively easily, and immediately buyers are stepping in. I don't like the low volume here, the 300 contract, 400 contract area, 200 down here. I'd like to see that backfill. But if we break above and start one-time framing higher, it will be bullish. Let's take a look at the queue. I was actually still just setting up this chart yesterday, so... Yeah, I mean, as it does, NQ is a lot more volatility, but value is overlapping to higher. They've already gotten above the overnight high. They're pulling back down into volume for support. They just broke through the resistance much more easily. But yeah, I wouldn't start getting bearish on the NQ unless we got below like 14,986, this area here. As long as these two nodes of volume from earlier in the day hold, we should be good for continuation higher. Okay, we are now one time framing higher in the ES, which is bullish. Again, before I would enter a long trade, I'd want to see the market get up and come back down and find support. Then I'd want to go long. That's just me. I'm the cautious type. Fewer trades with higher probability of success. Less stressful, less risky. More boring, though, that's for sure. RK, thank you. POC moving higher. Another bullish indicator, and to be expected if it's going to trend today. Let me pop back and take a look at those internals. Okay, advancers versus decliners trending higher. The breadth, this is actually kind of a bullish look for it. It doesn't really trend hard. So far it's finding support and beginning to trend higher. Ticks are pretty neutral. Fausto, POC same as yesterday? No. Currently the POC is at 44.42. Yesterday it was down at 32. Yeah, Fausto, I'd say if your monkey bars are showing it as the same as yesterday, something's funky. Some calculation is off. Being a few ticks off is just no big deal, but being that far off is pretty bad. So again, guys, we got a good trade opportunity here. If you're a short-term trader who likes to take some risk, these low volume nodes need backfilling. So if the market pulls back down into there, it's not bearish. It's still bullish unless it starts to get below there. But as long as it finds support somewhere in here, I mean, that's what you would expect. That's a dip that you buy. Again, I'm not going to take that trade. But if you like a little more risk, that's a trade right there. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, what I'm looking for is the market to push above these volume nodes here and then come back down and find support. The target for that support is going to be this node here, right around 43. Okay. So the market gets above this thin volume. It's got to come back down. You only got 200 contracts here, right? So you start to look for support. You get it? It's a good long trade for continuation to the upside. Mizu, there's no gaps above us. The only real weakness above us is the poor high from yesterday, which was left there because it was one tick from the base of the single prints in the H period. And then the overnight all-time high is considered weak because it was made in the overnight market. But other than that, there's no weakness above. Okay, so here's that pull back down looking for support. Need to backfill this level with just 200 contracts and then look for support in here. Okay. Okay, getting above the poor high is bullish. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, though, but the fact that we didn't backfill these or these, to me, is unhealthy. They're buying the dips too quickly. It's these short-term, weak hands traders that just have no patience, and they FOMO into every trade. Drives me crazy. But yep, the market remains bullish. Getting above the overnight high is bullish. But I just don't trust it that it'll last. At some point, the market will have to pull back into here. Shubaho Deep, good to see you. Thank you. Hopefully I'm back for good now. And so I'm back, da 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 da, from outer space, da 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 da. Well, things are looking good for continuation higher. We got 5 minutes to printing the C period, right? And then you got a great stop right here at the B period low for a long trade, for the continuation of one time framing higher, because you've also got this node of volume here. So if the market pulls back down to backfill these low levels, this is very strong support, and you don't have to take much risk because you can put your stop right there. So definitely setting ourselves up for a nice one time framing trade. Shubho Deep, how's New York treating me? It's been great so far. Yeah, don't get mad, Fausto. That one time framing trade is coming. Okay, so now we're backfilling those low levels, looking for support in that node of volume. Okay, so once again, if you remember this morning, what I said was I was looking for the market to push above and then come back down and find support for the long trade for continuation higher. Currently, we're getting that support. Let's see if it can hold. Nope. I have yesterday's POC as being down here at 42.32.50. Whoops, now my lines are all messed up. My bad. There we go. Yes, sir. Mizu, the way I look at markets is I don't worry about what's coming. I don't care what's going to happen in 4 hours. I don't care what they say at the FOMC meeting. They could say something bullish and the market could go down. They could say something bearish and the market could go up. I'll just watch the market generated information as it happens in real time. Okay? Just now we pushed above, we pushed through resistance, pulled back down, it became support. That is bullish. The market is one time framing higher. That is bullish. So to me, I just see this as a long. Now, if the C period gets below the B period, well, then I'll change my mind. But until then, the market generated information is telling me the market wants to go higher. Got that poor high left behind from yesterday, needs repair. We do have one single print left behind by the B period, worth noting, in need of repair. That just means the C period needs to come down to that level. Well, Ronald, there's two different ways to look at it, right? In terms of what's a potential target for a long trade here. You could target the poor high from yesterday. That's one target. You could target the weak all-time high that got left behind there, but you might have to wait a few days to get up to it. So it depends what kind of trader you are. Or one way to trade one time framing is to just get long and then move your stop up as the market works its way up, right? So right now, your stop would be 2 ticks below the B period low. If the C period trades higher and then prints the D period, you would then move your stop to 2 ticks below the C, and you just keep going all day, just keeping your stop 2 ticks below whatever the previous 30-minute time period is. And then, yeah, you just kind of stay in the trade and let it go as far as it's going to go. Well, Shubaho Deep, this software can literally do any market. So you would just have to, oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, no. With Window Trader, they have they only have like 4 different companies you can buy data from. So you'd have to check if any of those companies sell data to that Indian indice. But yeah, that's a great question. But yeah, I mean, market profile software in general can be used for any financial market. Well, good news. That phone call was U-Haul telling me they found my U-Box. So those of you that heard me talking about that yesterday, the U-Box has been located. I have not lost my possessions. So that's good. All right, guys. Well, with that, I'm going to call it quits here this morning and go ahead and switch on over to the Brigade private stream. So if you are a member of the Brigade, give me about 5 minutes to get everything set up and then head on over to piratetraders.io/live and click that green button. Thanks a lot, guys. And I should hopefully see you here tomorrow morning.